The Shark Deck.
I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Quick one from Seth Meyers. In a new episode of podcast, former President Trump said he heard that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis may challenge him for the Republican presidential nomination, and added, Trump said, "We'll handle that the way I handle things." Seth's tag, "So get ready, Ron. He's going to cheat on you." The Guardian had a fantastic article with Bert Kreischer. I shared this, it might be a week ago now, on the Daily Comedy News podcast group on Facebook and also on the subreddit Daily Comedy News. The headline, "I get handed joints all the time. Why everyone wants to party with topless comic Bert Kreischer." Not the interview you'd expect. The Guardian writes, "We're half an hour into the interview when the U.S. comic Bert Kreischer starts telling me about his recent panic attacks, the worst he's ever had, the type where he's locked in the bathroom all night, doing breathing exercises on the toilet, trying in vain to calm himself down. He's been riddled with them," he says, "and he's pretty sure it's down to traveling so much, spending most of the past year away from his family, and drinking more than he should." Bert said, "Then I go on stage and it disappears. So I'm like, why is this the one place I'm comfortable? I didn't want to get off stage last night because I knew the second I got off, I was going to go back to feeling crappy." He leans into the camera of the Zoom call and he admits he's hungover. And he says, "Man, I've got to find a way to get the anxiety out of my regular life. I've been such an effing open book about my life and my stand-up that the audience knows me really intimately. They bring me drinks and I get handed joints all the time." The Guardian points out there's an expectation not only to be funny, but to be their buddy. Bert says, "I don't want to let anybody down, so I rip off my shirt and kill a beer." Guardian adds, "For all the lavish exuberance through, there's an insecure streak, too, that keeps finding its way into our conversation. One minute, he's talking about how good life is, saying, 'I'm a very happy man. I have 2 kids. I tour around the country, and I've just finished my own movie.' The next, he's telling me about the way his dad stopped him having opinions as a kid. He'd shut me down and tell me I was wrong and explain to me I was wrong. I don't know what that does to a person, but I know for a fact that I'm never confident in my opinion." Really, really interesting. It's in The Guardian. Just Google Bert Kreischer Guardian or go to the Daily Comedy News podcast group on Facebook or the subreddit. I have shared it on those pages. Really good stuff, and there's more in it. I'm chipping away at it. I have some travel coming up here and there, and I want to save it for days. Sometimes I record in advance. I'm sure you've picked that up because I'm pretty open about it. For example, this episode right now. And, it helps me accommodate things if I can move stuff around. Andrew Santino. Got your bingo card out? Put a chip down on Andrew Santino. Been mentioning him a lot lately. Variety interviewed him. They were interested, and midway through the Netflix special Cheeseburger, Santino breaks the fourth wall, saying to the audience, "You have to recognize you're as much a part of this as we are. You're responsible too." Variety was curious and asked, "When did you come up with the idea to do a major fourth wall break in the middle of the special when you introduced the concept of the cheeseburger?" Santino said, "The story I told about the cheeseburger, about having a mental break, was super powerful in my life. And I wanted to put it in there because it kind of found its way into the narrative of the special. As corny and stupid as the name of the special is, there's some real depth to what I'm trying to say. The audience is just as much of a part of a comedic performance as the comedian is. You make your version of your own cheeseburger. You put the toppings on that you like. You decide you don't like pickles, well, then you don't like that one joke. And you love tomato, so you love that one joke." It was kind of this metaphor that was birthed from a real incident that happened. I was having a really tough time in life with chunks of bad news. And I had a little bit of an emotional breakdown. Something I was trying to convey is that I just wanted to be something simple and fun. Comedy is complex. Entertainment is complex. We're complex people. Sometimes we're not giving room to be vulnerable and emotional in real life. They just want you to always be a comedian. And the criticism that entertainers face sometimes is stupid and hypocritical because people in the real world don't ever have a light shined on their issues. So it was me saying, I just want to be a cheeseburger. I just want you to like me while you have me and just be delicious and fun. That's it. I don't need some grandstand, live forever, build me a statue in the middle of town square. I just want you to like me right now. The narrative thread throughout the entire special is like, this is all for fun. None of this is real. These are just jokes and who cares? Good stuff from Santino. Andrew said, in the special, I speak very candidly about the idea that there is this fake narrative where people are like, comedians can't say anything anymore. It's not true. You can say whatever you want. There's repercussions to some of your language, obviously, but I'm never afraid of saying something because it's a joke. I get paid to joke around. So if you're going to give me money to make fun of stuff, don't be shocked when I say something that's off-kilter or weird. The whole idea of what we're doing to say things that are unusual, funny, obscure. Otherwise, why are you paying me money? Also, I'm not afraid of language because there's no hate in my jokes. Truly, if you can feel me and see me and know me, you can tell none of this comes from a bad place. This is all in jest. I don't think I've ever tried to go out of my way to say something just to be cruel or mean or super shocking. The world is so chaotic and scary and sad sometimes. We have to remember these things are for fun. Good interview. Variety followed up saying the I can't say anything anymore bit seems to be the new hacky thing in comedy. Santino said, it's funny. I hate the word hacky because I think the word hacky is hacky. Any joke can be hacky. Everything is funny if you need it to be. Ellen DeGeneres had a joke years ago about pressing an elevator button after somebody else pushed it. You could argue that's a hacky joke, other people have done it, blah, 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 but she did it her way and it was funny. Everyone's jokes have been done a million times. I'll chime in, yeah, like the proctology bit that really turned me off to the special. But we'll agree to disagree, Andrew, because I'm enjoying your interview here. It's about how you do an original concept of the idea, but it's silly when comics do this thing like, I'm a bad boy, I'm going to say something bad. Just tell your jokes. Good stuff. IndieWire caught up with Nick Kroll. He's involved in Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 2. Kroll said, I don't think it's as tricky to navigate doing comedy right now as people would like to imagine. Mel Brooks' ultimate goal was always to poke fun at those in power and how greedy and how stupid they were. So doing a show about history now at a time when we're re-examining what the past was and how things went down, it became for me a very easy through line to continue Mel's legacy at poking fun of those in power. And that really became our guiding light. That doesn't mean the cutting room floor wasn't littered with stuff that went perhaps a bit too far for 2023. Kroll said, for sure. Whatever room we're in, you just try to create a space that's open and honest. So he creates a safe word like, that makes me feel a little itchy. And then you examine it and you figure it out. Is it the joke that you're telling? Is it the words you're using? Is it the target? I personally think right now in comedy, you can still say and do insane things. You just have to be a little more thoughtful about how and why you're saying them. A lot of people in History of the World Part 2. I won't read the whole list, but let me skim here and see who interests me. Ronnie Chang, Rob Corddry, Danny DeVito, David Duchovny, Hannah Einbinder, Josh Gad, Kumail Nanjiani, and there's also Jack Black as Joseph Stalin. History of the World Part 2 premieres Monday, March 6th with 2 episodes. Then you'll get 2 episodes daily, with the finale premiering on Thursday, March 9th. The Guardian has reviewed something called Jack. I'll just read you the headline. Jack review, talking penis comedy is coy with the knob gags. That headline got me to click. Let's find out what this is. Jack is out on digital today. The Guardian writes, the penis has got a mind of its own, or so it said. Taking that idea one further, this juvenile, low-budget British comedy gives penis a voice too and a name, Jack. The thing is, if you go to the bother of giving a speaking role to a penis, it really does need to be funny, and Jack only gets a handful of so-so gags. At the start of the film, Jack, spoilers I guess, introduces us to his human male, Charlie, a third-year university student living at home with his mom and dad in suburban London. Charlie is desperate for a girlfriend. You ready for one of the jokes? Charlie's friend says, Danny DeVito's hairy left testicle pulls more than you. Charlie's major crush is a Canadian student named Barbie, but she thinks he's gay, following a spectacularly unhilarious misunderstanding. The Guardian says the acting in place feels comparable to a deodorant advertisement. Wow. There are a couple funny scenes in the office of Mr. Hand, who is the university's gorgeous brooding counselor who's Spanish. Jack DePina says he's like Javier Bardem and Antonio Banderas had a baby who became a psychologist. The running joke is that Mr. Hand gives straight male students a excitement thing. The Guardian says, I confess this made me giggle, but not much else did. Jack is out today on digital platforms. Ophira Eisenberg has a new solo show. It's called Leaving a Mark, a comedy show about scars. It'll be at Soho Playhouse starting February 2nd. Leaving a Mark, a comedy about scars, blends all the rawness, vulnerability, and immediacy of first-person storytelling, along with sharp stand-up, as Ophira tells harrowing and hilarious stories about acquiring and living with the dozens of scars that cover her body. The dynamic show changes each night with audience interaction via a scar competition and a notable special guest who shares their scar story in a segment called Scar Talk. That sounds fun. Hey, do you watch Shoresy? That's the Letterkenny spinoff. Shoresy was the most watched Canadian debut in Crave history. Well, they've renewed it for a second season. It'll air in the States on Hulu. 6 new episodes of Shoresy are filming this spring. The New York Times reviewed the series as wild and filthy as its predecessor, absolutely bubbling over with indecency and outrageousness in all the best ways. The Globe and Mail said, at last, a real hockey show about real hockey. You're so Canadian. I love it. On the BBC, Ramesh Ranganathan, I stumbled across his comedy special late in the year around Christmas time, and I really liked it. He is piloting a BBC chat show, although the BBC will not admit that they're actually piloting such a thing. It is said to have the working title, The Ramesh Ranganathan Show. Rami Youssef, he's got a new animated series. It's called Number 1 Happy Family USA. This will be on Amazon. 2-season pickup. It tells the story of a Muslim American family learning to code switch and negotiate their identity in the early 2000s amidst a zeitgeist riddled with fear and war. Rami will voice the role of Rumi Hussein, who's a 12-year-old boy eager to fit in. I always enjoy Rami's work. If you haven't watched Rami on Hulu, you should. And the 2023 Sundance Film Festival has set its jury. The jury plays a crucial role in the festival by amplifying breakthrough works and providing the audience with further opportunities for discovery. Why am I mentioning this, Johnny Mac? Guess who is on the jury for the 2023 Sundance Festival? Jim Gaffigan. All right. Why not? And that's your comedy news for today. Follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your shows, and I'll see you tomorrow. Did you hear about the border collie who recycles trash when he's out on his walks? Or how about the bear that stole someone's Chick-fil-A, but good news, left the salad behind? Hi, I'm Johnny Mac, host of 5 Good News Stories. Don't worry, I have stories about humans too, like there's a woman who makes a living because she looks like Jim Carrey. It's my podcast. It's 5 Good News Stories. 5 Good News Stories. The number 5 Good News Stories. Twice a week. 5 Good News Stories. Oh, and Shamrock Shakes are back too. Good news. 5 Good News Stories, wherever you get your shows.